Hey, y'all. It's Colin from the Life of Logos podcast. Coming at you again with part two of what we were discussing last time with the wolves, the disc model, which is dominating, influencing, conscientiousness, the Ninja Turtles, of all things, and how that all comes together. There's a lot to that. And I think this is a good time to talk not only about what it means to me, but also what it means in our greater system. I don't think the West does well with Leonardo's. That is the eyes people listen. I think we have been very quick to name people to be influencers who really don't contribute leadership, visionary direction. I think the ideologists, the people who dream of a better future, the people who this dream of a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, are oftentimes the people who are hacked down the quickest when it comes to overturning the status quo. The Martin Luther Kings, the JFKs, people who dream of making the world better for others. And that's a bit of a scary thought. It seems like the phrase that I was told was, you can either survive in the jungle or exist in the zoo. And if you feel like you're a Leonardo and you're a person who does want there to be a brighter future, there is substantial opposition to that. And that's more than just having a bank that can actually give money to people who are entrepreneurs, more than dreaming of finding a way to overcome cancer. It's more than creating a workplace that actually puts the needs of its employees first with the belief that you can create a resilient team. It's more than that. All of those things are going to be met with opposition as well. But there's a benefit to the people who are, and let me not say Leonardo's or influencers or kings as something that is positive, though we have quickly associated that trait with positivity. In the West, we really do uphold the influencers and the warriors. In America, that would be your entrepreneurs and your military. But just because you're a king or you're a strong eye or a Leonardo does not necessarily mean that you are good. You can use that sword just as much to save someone as you could to hurt somebody. And it is a matter of learning to be able to wield one sword to be able to make the difference. And that is the burden of leadership. Every decision that anyone makes who is in a position of authority is either going to help someone or harm someone with that katana. Sword, by the way. It is what it is. And I think that we've gotten to a point where we have discouraged people from being Leonardos that they were born to be. Because if we did, that means we'd uproot the order. And that's a scary thought for a lot of people. I understand that even putting this video out on YouTube is going to stir some consternation of that. I'm not saying one way or the next. I know I just painted a target against myself, but I'm also highlighting the fact that there are some people who dream. And I think that's why I'm so drawn to the Disney company. Because if you listen to a lot of the messaging they put out, particularly in nighttime spectaculars, they tend to be oriented towards calling out the dreamer. And I think that's something that we need to do. And I think that's something that if we do not allow those dreamers to come out and actually make a place where they can thrive, ultimately it will be the downfall of our society. And I have no problem in saying that. Primarily because those are the people who look to the future and find ways to make it better than it is today. And as much as we would love to say that we could keep the power where it is, a lot of our country is old. My Zumba teacher is 64. That's a very weird thing to think about because you look around and ultimately, though there are people in power that I do not see, and I'm not even talking about them. The people that we do see in power are all blue hairs. And I mean, no disrespect to the elderly community in saying that, but if we're going to be totally honest, 30 years from now, all of y'all are going to be gone. We would be foolish to think that a third of the United States population, that population which is so old, is going to be around for 30 more years. Who is there to take their place? Who is there to lead? And are the people that we are asking to lead quietly being snuffed out because of the system that we're in? This is me talking about the Leonardos and to the other Leonardos, to the other dreamers, to the people who are willing to put their lives on the line, to go forward, because they see something in the future that will be better for them than it is today. Whether that be more rights, that be more a cleaner environment, whether that be a more stable or robust economy, whether that be great robotics, it doesn't matter what it is. I remember I was having a discussion with a friend of mine some time ago. Unfortunately, we haven't spoken in a long time, so Riley, if you see this. And he said to me that to the older generations, the apocalypse is something to fear. Like the end all be all would be the end of the order as we know it, and it would be horrible. But he said he's also 20, I think he'll be 22 this year. What he said to me was, to me and to the people I know, the apocalypse is not something to be afraid of. It's a liberation. And that should terrify you. And that terrifies me. To think there's a whole segment out there that thinks the end of the world would be better than it was now because it would simply end. Or it would be the breaking apart of this power structure that has choked out so many young people. Another stat, I learned this in my classes, that we've lost roughly 8,000 of our own forces in combat in the last 20 years. We lost something to the tune of 150,000 to suicide. Something's not working. Something has got to give. And we cannot continue, if we are truly concerned about the future of our society, for the world that we leave to our children and our grandchildren, we should be doing everything in our power to ensure that that world is better than the world we know today. And that would mean striving for a better future. That would mean dreaming. That would mean taking the risk, failing, and having people in a society who are willing to fail over and over again so that one day they may be able to see a better world. Honestly, the world is great right now. It is way better than it's been, but it's not as good as it could be. We need dreamers. And we must do everything in our power to keep those dreamers alive and pushing towards a brighter future. This is Colin. This has been kind of somber. Next one will be more fun. I'll be standing up again. Ideally, and Ken will be here. But until then, have a great day. This is Life of Logos. We'll talk to you soon.